Hey, what's up, guys? It's Patrick back on a Veterans View, and today I just kind of wanted to pick up where I left off in my last video, referring to meeting with the recruiter and kind of how that process went. So, my recruiter had told me that the particular job I wanted, 35 Fox, to be specific, was not available. A 35 Golf or imagery analyst was available. He was able to actually show me the database that they use. So they're able to go through and they're able to see what is available now in terms of jobs. They're also able to see jobs that they're anticipating are going to be needing people within the next, certain period of time. Say the next, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And, a lot of that information is derived from people retiring, people promoting, people getting out of the military that they're anticipating. And all that kind of goes into this database for them to know kind of where they stand on their job numbers and what's available. So I told my recruiter I wanted to be at 35 Golf, and that's when we kind of, furthered the process. Did more paperwork, drug test, pretty much went into detail, and I received, after doing that information, kind of my projected when I would leave for basic training date. And my initial date that I was supposed to leave was, I believe, February 17th of 2009. And I was supposed to go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Well, what ended up happening is Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri is where all of the military police, or MPs, that's where they do their basic, but then they also do their AIT there. So they're one of a few different jobs, at least specifically in the Army, where you do your basic and AIT at the same base. And there was a bunch of MPs joining at that time. And Fort Leonard Wood is where those MPs had to go. So I actually had my initial, when I would leave for basic date, pushed back until March. And that's when I also was switched from Fort Leonard Wood. Then I was going to have to go to Fort Jackson, which is in South Carolina. Along that, in that in-between time, we had to go to MEPS, where I had to go in and actually verify in more detail a lot of my information. I had to actually sign my entry paperwork into the Army. That's also where I swore in. And kind of after that point, it was just waiting until I would leave for basic. So I still, along the way, had to keep in contact with my recruiter. Because at this point, this was probably, end of January, early February. So I had a little over a month in between leaving for basic. So what I did is I kind of took this as an opportunity to start to prepare myself. Start working out, start running, start doing push-ups and sit-ups. And because I knew, not that I was out of shape necessarily, but my recruiter had told me that these would be some things that I should definitely, if I wanted to make my basic experience a little bit easier, these are some things that I should work on ahead of time, since I had some time. So going along with the working out and getting into better shape, one of the other things my recruiter had told me would probably be a good idea to start doing would be learning the rank structure, learning some of the different positions, you know, position of attention, parade rest, eddies, some of these other things that we would definitely gain exposure to them in basic and use them a lot there, just to, you know, kind of once again allow me to have a little bit better preparedness in terms of when I got to basic, so it was not as big of a culture shock. I will add though that it was still a huge culture shock for me when I got to basic, for sure. And I'm going to be doing a totally separate series of videos kind of on my basic experience and how, you know, the mass punishment mindset and how hard the structure was for me to really grasp, given kind of like what I mentioned in some of my earlier videos, growing up in a very unstructured household. It was hard. It was hard to bite your tongue, but I'll cover that in a separate video. But you know, more or less just use that time to better myself and prepare myself. One of the other things, I know I have my ears gauged now. I also had gauges when I first joined the Army. So I had to take those out, and they had to, you know, start closing up to a certain extent. And I got a lot of flack for that in basic as well from the drill sergeants. So while, you know, all of, you know, doing all this stuff at MEPS, preparing myself, that all kind of led up to the night before I was going to be leaving, or the day before I was going to be leaving for basic training. And that day, my recruiter drove me to MEPS, which was in Phoenix, Arizona, and did my final paperwork, signed my contract, and what they did was everybody who was going to be leaving for basic from the greater Phoenix area, they put all of us up in, it was a really nice hotel. It was a Sheraton hotel. And it seemed kind of like the setup was, you know, this is your last night as a free individual. So it was cool. There was a lot of socializing. They had, you know, all the top video game systems at the time, pool tables. You know, it was kind of like a going away party almost. Is kind of how it felt. It's the best way I could really put it. And it was a really good time. You know, we all did our stuff, hung out that night, and then the next morning we were going to be bused to the airport, and that's where we were going to leave for basic training. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this particular video. Once again, you know, like always, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask me, leave them in the comments. If you guys like the video, just helps out with this whole YouTube algorithm thing. I'm still trying to kind of grasp how it works and really what it's looking for. But then also, if you want to, you know, continue to be a part of this series and kind of hear how my experience went, subscribe to the channel and definitely turn on notifications. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out, on most weeks, it's going to probably be 2 to 3 videos. Just kind of letting you guys know the ins, outs, goods, bads of my experience along the way. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Take care. See you next time. Bye.